Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Spencer, and welcome to my math class. I'm so glad you stopped by. I haven't seen some of you in a really long time. So, we're going to have a great math lesson today about place value. This is Standard of Learning 1.2, and there are three parts to this standard. We're going to touch on two of them today. We're going to work on grouping a collection of objects or items into tens and ones and writing a corresponding numeral. And we're going to try to really understand what that means. We're also going to compare two numbers and use words like greater than, less than, and equal to. So let's get going. But first, this sounds like we're going to have to do a lot of thinking. And Mrs. Spencer needs something special when she does a lot of heavy duty thinking, my thinking cap, and maybe you need yours too. So feel free to go ahead and grab that and put it on. You are so good at counting. I've heard you, and especially 0 to 9, right? Let's review those numerals. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But stop. What comes next? Answer that question. I'm sure you said 10. But what I want to talk about is, did you ever stop to think that 10 and all the other numerals are really combinations of 0 through 9? That's pretty cool to think about, isn't it? I want you to keep that in mind today as we work. So I have another question for you. What do those numerals really represent? 9, 10, 11. Stop and answer that question. We see numerals in lots of different places, don't we? On speed limit signs when we're riding down the road, when we write the year and we're getting ready to enter a new year when we'll have to write 2021. We see them on nutrition labels, on cans and boxes in our pantries and cabinets. We see them when we're celebrating an anniversary or a birthday. And my favorite, we see them on the McDonald's sign. This is an old picture, maybe even from the year Mrs. Spencer was born, because hamburgers were only 15 cents. That's really cheap. And you can see it says over 100 million sold. So numerals represent or stand for an amount, or we call it a quantity of something. Keep that in mind as well as we go through our lesson today. Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Spencer, and this is Poppy, my dog. She is a Sheltie mix. She's a herder. She loves to follow us and make sure we get safely to the kitchen and the bedroom and all the other places we go in our house. And Poppy just had a birthday in October. How many of you had a birthday in October? Poppy, how old did you turn? Do you want to tell just me? Don't tell the boys and girls. That's right. Maybe you can guess Poppy's age. Well, we're going to use her age for a fun math problem. Let's do it. Each of the pink dots represents 1 year of Poppy's life. Before you count them, stop, and I want you to estimate or make a guess by just scanning over them how old Poppy is. Great. Now let's check our predictions. We're going to use our tens and ones chart to show Poppy's age. And here's how we're going to do it. Each dot, remember, represents 1 year of Poppy's life. So we're going to put it on the ones side of our chart. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stop. When we get to 9, we have to do something special. We cannot move a 10 over here. When we get a 10, a group of 10, we need to move them to the tens side. So we're going to move them. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I stack them because remember I said it was a group of 10. When we have 9 on the one side of the tens and ones frame, we need to, once we get a 10, move them to the tens side. So we really have one group of 10. Poppy is at least 10 years old, but look, we have some more dots remaining. We're going to add those to the ones side. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's count up Poppy's age. If we have 110, remember that's a group of 10. Remember I stacked them, so there are really 10 here. Now let's add on our ones. 11, 12, 13, 14. Did you think Poppy was 14? She looks pretty good for her age. She is 110 and 4 ones. She's not 1 and 4. She's not 1 plus 4. She is one group of 10. Remember we counted to 10 plus 4 more. She is 14 is how we say that numeral. I have a whole group of pattern blocks here. About how many do you think I have? And if I challenge myself to make pictures out of these pattern blocks that use exactly 10 blocks each, how many pictures do you think I can make? Will I have any pattern blocks left over? Let's see how many pictures I was able to make. I made one picture of a bird. Picture 2 is of a duck. And picture 3 is a flower. And I had some blocks left over that I couldn't use because it wasn't a full group of 10. Remember, I was challenging myself to make pictures using exactly 10 blocks. So I was able to make 3 complete pictures and had some blocks left over. How many total blocks do I have out? Well, since I made each picture from exactly 10, that's like one group of 10, and I could count by tens. And you're awesome at counting by tens, so count with me. 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I have a total of 34 blocks out. I was able to make 3 pictures with 10 each and 4 left over. So I hope you're getting the idea about tens and ones. Let's think about it by reading a cool story called Penguin Place Value, a Math Adventure by Kathleen Stone. Way down south in the snow and ice lived a family of penguins who were really quite nice. So not only is this a great math story, but it rhymes too. So listen out for the rhymes. They worked hard all day catching fish by the shore, placing them on trays to take back to their store. The trays were quite handy. They really were fine. Problem is they were small. They only held 9. Remember our Poppy age problem? And we had 9 in the ones column? What did we have to do? When more fish were caught, they were moved once again to a bright yellow box big enough to hold 10. Just like we moved the 9 when we got to 10, counting Poppy's age, we moved to the tens side of our tens and ones chart. 10 fish to a box. Now that was the rule, and they kept them on ice to stay nice and cool. By the end of the day, all the fish had been caught. Now it's time to find out how many fish that they've got. 6 boxes of fish and 4 on a tray were stacked by their van to be sent on their way. So we have groups of 10, just like I had 10 blocks. We had at least 10 years of Poppy's life. You have 10 built-in fingers. You already have a group on you, and 10 toes, right? So think in tens. Let's think about how many tens and ones there are. I have put the boxes from the story across the top of our screen. So let's count each box, and remember each box has 10 fish in it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 10. And there are 4 left over. Those are our ones. But what does that really mean? Let's take a look down here at our tens and ones blocks. We're going to be using these a lot to help us understand place value. And so when we talk about one block, we're going to call it 1 unit or a unit. And then 10 of those units make up, we can put them together and they make up a 10 rod. Now that we know we can have a unit, which are our ones, or put 10 together to make a rod, let's think about what these boxes look like if we use the 10 rod and the unit. Here we go. 1 rod for each box of fish. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But remember, it's not 6, it's a group of 10. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 60 fish. So 1 rod stands for 1 box of 10. Now let's count our units. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those represent the 4 fish that were left over. And then let's see what that looks like on our tens and ones chart. 6 groups of 10 and 4 ones. Or how do we say that? 64. And that's what it really means, doesn't it? When we say the number, we can hear 60. Oh, that's 6 groups of 10 we just counted. Let's see if we were correct. 6 boxes makes 60. Now don't forget the 4. That's 64 fish to be sold at their store. Tomorrow's a new day. These fish will be bought. We hope you come back and count new fish we've caught. And that's the end of that. Just like the workers had to put the fish into groups of 10, let's practice that ourselves, because remember, our goal today is to learn to put objects or items in groups of 10s and 1s. So I have a bunch of bulldogs here. Shh, don't tell Poppy they're bulldogs. And we're going to count out 10 and put a box around them. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's put our box around them. There is 1 group of 10. Let's see if we have another group of 10. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We didn't get to 10, did we? So we have, remember, we can quickly look at this and know it's 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How many groups of 10 do we have? Oh, there's our rod. That stands for the 1 group of 10 bulldogs, because there are 10 blocks here in our rod and 7 units for the other bulldogs that did not make a full 10. Let's see how that looks on our tens and ones chart. 1 10 and 7 ones, or 17. Are you ready to try it with all these crayons? We could count them by ones, but that would take a long time. Let's put them in groups of 10. There's one group of 10 with my box around it. There's another group of 10, and you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 left over. Let's see what that looks like in rods and units. 1 rod for the first group of 10, 1 rod for the second group of 10, and my units to represent or stand for the 4 crayons that are left and do not make a whole group of 10. So we can count by tens. Remember, you're really good at that. 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and let's put it on our tens and ones chart over here. 2 tens and 4 ones. Or say that number, 24. Let's think about this number in rods and units. And remember, we're really trying to figure out what this number or numeral means, what it stands for, how much it is. So we have 5 tens. Our tens chart is gone. Our tens and ones chart is gone. So we have to remember this is tens, this is ones. So 5 tens and 7 ones. Let's take a look at our rods. So we would need 5 rods, right? And each one is 10. And let's do our units. We need 7 units. Let's count it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. And now we have 40. Let's represent it with our tens rod and our units. So we have 4. This is the tens place. This is the ones place. 4 in the tens. So how many rods are we going to need? 1 rod, 2 rods, 3 rods, 4 rods, and each one is 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and stop. What is that in the ones place? A 0. Think back to that very first slide where we had our numerals 0 to 9. And we talked about 10 comes next. Well, 0 the hero is here in the ones place. And we know 0 the hero means no ones. So we're not going to have any units over here. Now that we know a lot about tens and ones and what numerals really mean, let's take a look at comparing some numbers using greater than, less than, or equal to. And I think we're going to need Poppy's help again.
To play a fun card game to help you understand place value. So I have some tens and ones place value mats, and we used some playing cards. So Poppy's number is 2 tens and 4 ones. Let's count that. 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Mrs. Spencer's number is 4 tens and 2 ones. Let's count it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. So whose number is greater? Mrs. Spencer's number is greater. 42 is greater or more than 24. Or we could turn it around and say Poppy's number, 24, is less than Mrs. Spencer's number, 42. Let's make them equal. How could we switch the cards to make them equal to each other? Look, now we both have 2 tens and 4 ones to make 24. 24 is equal to 24. Let's try it with different cards. This time I'm going to give Poppy 3 10s and 5 1s, and Mrs. Spencer 4 10s and 3 1s. So remember, let's count the 10s, 10, 20, 30, and the 1s, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So Poppy has 35, and Mrs. Spencer has 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43. So which number is greater, 43 or 35? Mrs. Spencer's number is greater again. 43 is greater or more than 35. What do you think, Poppy? Poppy's mad because her number is less, and so in this game, the greater number wins. So order does matter, doesn't it? Because 3 10s and 5 1s is very different than if I switch them, and now I have 5 10s and 3 1s. So place value does matter.
Well, great job today, everyone. Talking about place value, SOL 1.2 A and B, where we learn to group a collection of things into 10s and 1s and to write that numeral and to understand what that really means. And I hope that you enjoyed our card game with Poppy so that we could compare some numbers and use words like greater than, less than, or equal to. And get out your cards, get out your dice. Those things make great manipulatives for comparing numbers, learning coaches as well. Find those 10 rods and single units. You're going to need them for your math lessons next week. Take care.